Welcome back to Good Morning, LaLa. And we're talking about what is your inner war, and for a lot of us, it's financial. So we have an expert in the house, Will Rassman, who is a certified financial planner. We need your help.
Yes,
Glad
everybody
you're
does.
here.
I feel
How
like.
can I help?
You tell us, 'cause clearly that's the problem. We don't know. So what was your journey becoming such a successful financial planner?
So I started in the business in 2008 on Wall Street, like literally on Wall Street. So I went to school in New York City and got an internship at Smith Barney, which actually no longer exists anymore. So kind of dates myself. And then I kind of went through a few institutions, and I have a broad institutional knowledge around kind of investments. So stocks, bonds, mutual funds, but also options and Forex and derivatives.
Be
And
talking over.
Sorry.
Break this down. Why did you become a master in finance and money? What is your mission with this? What do you want to share with the audience?
So that's a great question. So I guess the other part of that is I learned that taking that kind of broad knowledge and applying it to kind of just everyday folks is really what lights me up. So it's taking the strategies of, kind of the ultra wealthy, the really rich people, and bringing it down to people, just regular people.
So
And
what did they know that the regular people don't?
I mean, there's all sorts of stuff. We'd be here all day. But
Is it
one of
mostly
them-
about how investments work? Is that what you say? That's
A lot of it is also just a lot of specific strategies around whether it's insurance or either property and casualty insurance or life insurance or different ways to defer tax. There's a lot of different strategies that I think people would use if they knew about them. And so in my book, I actually outline a few of those, and but also talk on a more kind of philosophical level about kind of clearing out some financial baggage, which we all kind of have.
So important.
Yeah.
I think there's like different levels of getting just organized with your finances and then actually getting strategic with your finances. So you're more about getting strategic.
Absolutely. Well, organization is not to be put aside. I mean, that is, crucial in all of it. But I say, take stock of your financial household in the way that, you see it, kind of in your own way. I take people through what I call a discovery process, where we talk about interests and goals and process and relationships and all the things that money touches, mainly. And what I then create for people is kind of like a mind map. So you have yourself in the center and then all the things that money touches around it. And I find that's actually a pretty good foundation for planning from there on, because we all kind of need to know what we're aiming at, right?
So other than like an investment, say someone wants to buy real estate or say someone's building their business, how do you help them kind of, what beyond the traditional things would you be looking at for somebody?
So again, without trying to go too far, get too far in the weeds, one of the things that I help people do is defer capital gains tax. So that's a big thing in California, right? So if you're paying tax out at the highest rate on a federal and state level, and kind of various other taxes that are there, you're paying out over 40% in capital gains tax. I have strategies where you can defer all of that indefinitely, and you can create a stream of income for yourself, and you can do creative things, and maybe do some private investments. We're kind of in a startup land right now.
And being very realistic, though, most of our viewers watching have never paid a capital gains tax. In fact, they might not even earn enough to pay taxes. Let's be very clear and real about that.
Sure.
You mentioned financial baggage. What is that? How do you clear that? So you could be in a position to have to worry about how to defer your money because you have to pay so much
Absolutely.
taxes. I mean, that for most people is a hashtag goal.
Absolutely. So one of the clients that I actually just kind of brought on, and I'll disguise him in a couple of different ways here, but he ended up making $1.5 million last year out of the blue. He had a dream of building a business. He did it. He accomplished that last year, and had an income of $1.5 million. So if he hadn't have done the right planning, we figured out that his tax bill would have been close or north of $400,000 at the end of the year. I think that for all of us that have, dreams of financial independence and all of the steps that are on the way to that. I think there's no better time to start planning for your financial success than right now. Because if you don't, I can almost guarantee that you're going to be stuck behind the 8 ball in some way or another.
So you're saying even if someone has a dream and they're like, put it out there, plan now so that you can set up the company correctly. You can set up the bank accounts correctly and do all that. I totally agree. You got to look at the bigger picture for sure.
Exactly. And so one of the things that I'm working on right now is a financial planning platform called Young Atlas, which is more geared towards the folks that you're talking about, which is people that are, just kind of grinding away. They, make an income for the most part, but they're kind of trying to figure it out. And what it is a software that you can answer 50 questions. I call it 50 questions for the next 50 years of your life. And you can answer the 50 questions, and it'll spit back to you the top 5 things that you should be working on.
That's beautiful.
That's awesome.
So then you can say it's, your debt to equity is too high, and let's try and get that down. And it'll help you decide which to pay down, and maybe your savings to income is too low, and we're going to try and get that up. And I'm working on a gamification part of it where if you accomplish all of these things, not only are you going to be in a better off place, but we will make a donation to, say, a charitable cause in your name if you accomplish all of those things.
Super cool. So where can people find the Young Atlas?
So youngatlas.com is live right now. That portion that I just spoke about, the software, is it's still in development. It should be out in next month, hopefully. Working with developers, and if you can tell, I have a lot of things going on, but I have a lot of good people around me that.
Well, if you need a test pilot, I'm just the girl to call.
Very good. I'll email
I'm
it to
a
you
firm
right away.
believer in paying for financial. I do not. I get very stressed out if I have to do finances or look at the bills or it's one area of my life that I'm like, ugh. So I am a firm believer in hiring that done, and I think that you guys you make your worth 10 times over, because getting with a good financial planner can save you $400,000 like that guy. So
more.
I'm a firm believer in that for sure.
So you should do all of my commercials for me then. Because there are many people out there that believe that they can kind of figure it out themselves.
No.
And one of the things that I talk about is if you don't have the 3 T's, you probably need some help. And the T's are time, technique, and temperament. And some people have time, and some people have technique, but the vast majority of us don't have the temperament to be able to manage our own stuff. Just like you, are you able to hold on when the market's going crazy?
Right.
Are you able to hold on when you have a bill coming up that you need to get $500 for? You can come up with $500 for this bill, and you really, are you able to approach that situation void of emotion?
Well, most people approach money with fear. Let's be honest. I think that's the biggest problem. They're afraid to even plan for the future because they're afraid they'll never have enough.
Absolutely. And what I talk a lot about in my book is the fact that emotions and money, while so entangled, are like the worst together, right?
Right.
Like any sort of financial decision that is driven by emotion is probably going to end up.
I was a terrible emotional investor when I was younger. My son's much smarter. He doesn't own his home, but yet he owns real estate. And I go, well, do you think you'll ever own your home? He goes, why? That's like the worst investment ever. I go, how did you figure this out? And I never figured that out. I always look at people who can just be logical and not get emotional about their investments. And so people need people like you. What's your book called?
My book is called Atlas Shift. It is mastering your financial experience in the post-information age. So I talk a lot about, I draw upon history and philosophy and a little bit of spirituality and kind of how we've got to this point where there is a war on for our attention. Make no mistake, right? Like my phone, I think my phone's rang about 3 times since I've sat down here. But that where you focus your attention is where you're going to get the most return on your investment. So I talk about attention really is our most valuable resource right now. And if you're not placing at least some of it on your financial health, then you are really putting yourself behind the 8 ball.
That's probably the ultimate war when it comes to finances, right? Just not even looking at it. You got to deal with it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love
and
that.
You can, and I talk about in my book, really the best place to start is just accept that responsibility. It's like we have so many kind of pseudo safety nets that are around, like what's going to happen with Social Security, and will mom and dad bail me out, and all this stuff is like, just pretend like all of that doesn't exist. You are the only person that can save yourself. So voluntarily accept that responsibility, and here are some ways that you can go about to do it, and then we have somewhere to plan from.
I love that. It's so important. Thank you so much for all your work and helping people. And it is a very important conversation, and I'm so passionate about it because so many people don't look at it. They just like pretend like it's not there, and it is constantly like are hurting people's lives, so they can't just be fully present and powerful. So thank you for everything. Tell everyone where they can find you.
So I am. So I have a personal website, willrassman.com. You can kind of find everything there. I'm on Instagram and Twitter, and Young Atlas is a good place to kind of check things out. Also, my boutique kind of wealth advisory firm is called Centric Capital Advisors. Kind of Google that too. And then my book Atlas Shift, which is kind of really the best way I think to kind of start down the path, which is at atlasshift.com and all over social media.
It's a great name too.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.